Good Monday morning. Let me make sure my levels are good and they are all set. How are you doing this Monday morning? Hello. This is Steve Worthy, Retail Leadership with Steve Worthy. Win your week. Man, I am excited for the conversation today. It's all about Black Friday, kind of this countdown to Black Friday, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as we move forward. How was your weekend? How was your weekend? Let me know in the comments. Let me know what you did this weekend, and we'd love to know what your thoughts were. Did you have fun? If you're in retail, you probably were working, getting prepared, and you're here this Monday morning to kind of learn a little bit more about Black Friday. So for me, great weekend, great weekend, great weekend. My soccer team smashed their opponent 6-1, which was awesome. So that was a great start to my weekend. Then I had the opportunity, clients always ask me, Steve, do you just coach and train? And I said, yeah, I do all of that stuff, but I'm still in stores, meaning that I still visit stores. It is part of kind of who I am, and whenever I'm out, I'm in a store and walking through. So this Friday, of course, Walmart had announced that they were remodeling 117 stores, and so of course I'm over here in Alpharetta, Georgia, and so I did have the opportunity to. So this is the article that they produced and talked about just the redesign of different locations and things like that. So I actually went to a store in Lithonia Springs, Georgia, and great experience. Great experience. Great experience. I just did a post about it today, and the post is really talking about the remodel from a leadership standpoint. Like, what are the benefits, right? We all can understand the benefits from a brand new store standpoint. The customer experience, right? Those are the ultimate goals, right? It could be identifying or kind of almost a shot across the bow for your competition to let them know, hey, we are still relevant and we are still investing in our company and in our stores. But for me, everything about the retail industry revolves around the retail leader, period. We can have the best tech, we can have the best ideas, concepts, and all of that stuff. But if we are not bringing it home and making it relevant for the retail leader who actually has to execute on all these different initiatives, everything that's kind of out there, then I think we are doing the retail industry is doing itself a disservice. So the article, the post talks more about kind of the relevance of around a store remodel. What does that mean for your store, for the market, but more importantly for you as a retail leader? So make sure you go ahead and check that out as well too. So before we move forward, today's show is sponsored by Vet. So vet.io. Here's the thing. This time of year, you are probably struggling to figure out what you're going to do from a staffing standpoint. If you are thinking about you're looking at your schedule and you have all of these open positions, Vet is your solution. So vet.io, they provide a solution where an applicant can actually go in and get an email, and get an interview within 30 seconds. It's almost like when you want to call an Uber, right? When you select the Uber, the driver actually has to kind of figure out where you are, what your location is, and then within seconds you actually have that Uber that's connected with you, and they're actually showing up to your door. It is the same thing when it comes to an applicant who is actually looking for a job. When they go into the system and they're actually looking for a job, let's just say it's at Ralph Lauren, you can actually go in there as an applicant and get an interview with someone who is actually going to be representing Ralph Lauren, and they would actually provide an interview in real time within 30 seconds. Within 30 seconds, it's that moment of intent. Whenever you're thinking about doing something, that's when it's the most impactful. That's when it's the most important. So vet.io, make sure you go and check them out. If you're a company, you get a free 7-day trial to go ahead and try this system out, try that platform out. So make sure you go check them out, vet.io as well too. All right, so let's move into today's topic. Let me see. Does anybody have anything fun that they did this weekend? Christine says, good morning. Shares is not as productive as I want it to be, but the ideas are flowing. That's awesome. They're always flowing. They're always flowing for you, Share. So excellent. All right, so we're gonna move into the inspiration. All right. I really like the inspiration for today. I really like the inspiration for today. So let's go ahead and let me actually my timer is stop for a second. Let's go ahead and do this inspiration. So here we go. Do the thing. Do the thing. And I got something I'm gonna play for you here in a second. Um, do the thing. This time of year, that's what it's really all about. That's what it's really all about. So without further ado, let's go ahead and I just want to show you this real quick. I think you'll enjoy this.
Preparing to do the thing isn't doing the thing. Scheduling time to do the thing isn't doing the thing. Making a to-do list for the thing isn't doing the thing. Telling people you're going to do the thing isn't doing the thing. Messaging friends who may or may not be doing the thing isn't doing the thing. Writing a banger tweet about how you're going to do the thing isn't doing the thing. Hating on yourself for not doing the thing isn't doing the thing. Hating on other people who have done the thing isn't doing the thing. Hating on the obstacles in the way of you doing the thing isn't doing the thing. Fantasizing about all of the adoration you'll receive once you do the thing isn't doing the thing. Reading about how to do the thing isn't doing the thing. Reading about how other people did the thing isn't doing the thing. Reading this essay isn't doing the thing. The only thing that is doing the thing is doing the thing.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And do the thing. Do the thing. This time of year, it is all about doing the thing. And we're gonna go in and we're gonna let me know what your thoughts are when you heard that. Is there anything that comes to mind for you? Is there something that you have been kind of putting off that you need to do? Staffing wise, talent wise, personal development wise, right? And we'll talk more about what that looks like for you as we move forward too. And speaking of personal development, so we are on our road to 100 founding members for the campus. So we launched on January 10th, 2024. It is a learning and development, a retail leadership learning and development community. Our job is really to focus in on those senior retail leaders who are looking to not just talk about the issues that are out there, but to actually provide solutions. We provide the solutions within that community. Our job is to focus in on those unspoken challenges that you face as a retail leader, but more importantly, provide the solutions, right? The community is interactive. I've already uploaded like tons and tons of content that's there. So when you come into the community, you're actually going to already be able to, partake in a lot of the information. Here's the thing though. People pay attention to what they pay for. So the community, we are running a special right now where you can go monthly for $23 a month, or you can pay a one-time fee of $275. There is a link. In the description, in the comments below. So if yourself, there's also a group rate. So if you are a senior vice president of director of stores and you want your entire team to be part of that process or to be part of the community, please make sure you go ahead and check it out. Everything that we do from a training and development standpoint is going to take place in the campus. So I would love to see you and have you be a part of it. We've already had several people sign up. We are on our road to 100 founding members. So super excited about that. All right. So today's topic, 3 weeks out to Black Friday. 3 weeks out to Black Friday. I got to tell you this. I love this. I used to love this time of year. When I was in stores, I used to love this time of year. It just everything else was sort of anticlimactic after Black Friday and Q4. January, I had to find different things to motivate me when it came January and February. This time of year, it is just full of excitement. So before we move into some of the things that we're going to talk about from a store manager and a multi-unit standpoint, I always want to set a foundation with a couple of things here. It's no time for complex. There's no time for complex. It's just not. right? Complex happens in January. What I mean, complex ideas, structure, conversation, even communication, right? Because sometimes a lot of your communication takes some time for it to resonate with people. And January, February is that time where you can have sort of this, um, this sort of broader ideas around and philosophy. There you go, philosophy on what it is that you need to get done. This time of year, forget about it. It is no time for complex. Keep everything simple. Everything simple. The second thing, it's all about movement. It's all about movement, and and honestly, there's two things that you're moving. You're moving talent, and you're moving product. Right? When I mean, and understand this, when I talk about moving talent, I don't mean moving talent like out. I mean moving talent around strategically within your stores and within your market. It has to be around movement, has to be around agility, right? And then the product standpoint, we'll talk more about that one too. But where are you going to locate the product? How is that going to be beneficial to your store or your stores? Another third foundational thing is the self and team discovery happens in the crucibles. You learn more about your team and yourself in these moments. I don't know how many weeks left. These next 8 weeks, maybe even like kind of moving into January just a tad, right? Maybe 7 to 8 weeks. You learn more about yourself, how you're able to handle situations, how your team's able to handle situations in these next moments. So take notes. Take notes of yourself. Take notes of your why. Take notes of how you respond, how your team responds to your communication. Take notes of how you're communicating. Are you communicating because now the Jets come into your market, so now your communication style, kind of goes a little different, right? Does the pressure impact you, right? And then the last one, this is my favorite love hate quote that my boss told me this a long time ago. Long time ago. It's not your fault, but it's your problem. That is the mentality that you need to have. Doesn't matter the circumstances. Doesn't matter the mistake that takes place. You need to own it as a leader. Your store issues, your talent issues. As a multi-unit leader, you need to understand. You need to own the production, the results of your team. It is not your fault, but it is 100% your problem to fix, right? And so we're going to talk about some solutions, some things that we need to know. Let's talk about a couple of things we need to know. From a store manager standpoint, you have to identify and solve staffing gaps and inventory allocations of hot products, backroom locations, and initial and secondary placement. And what I mean by that is it's pretty standard. But what I have seen happen is that there's a product that's really hot, and the product may come in off a truck. It may come in, and we have to have hopefully you have backroom allocations already for those products that you know are going to be moving, right? Black Friday products, you should have all of that stuff stashed somewhere for quick deployment, onto your sales floor, right? But it's also important that you know how much of that you actually have on hand. So if you're actually doing anything along those lines, making sure that you understand where those products are, um, where you need to actually grab them from, who's going to be grabbing them, who's responsible for storing them into location, right? And if they're not stored into location, who's responsible for that? Once again, it's not your fault, but it's your problem. So you need to help that person understand the importance of actually placing stuff in location, because you need to make sure that you're able to actually find it and then bring it down and put it on the sales floor as quickly as possible. Um, Initial and secondary locations. Of course, every store has a planogram this time of year. Every area of your store is all mapped out, where of course hot products and fast moving products and all these different things are going to be allocated. But I was always a fan of secondary locations. A lot of times there are products that's either in aisle, or it's going to be on an end cap, or it's going to be placed somewhere strategically up front, as it relates to foot traffic and things like that. But you have to understand that some in some places, there are probably hot spots in your stores where secondary locations may actually facilitate you placing some of that product, even some of maybe the secondary slow moving product, right? Maybe not the fast, maybe that second or third tier down, and hopefully you've identified that, right? And then you're able to kind of move some of that product and kind of adjust it. That's where the agility kind of comes into place, right? That's the mindset that you actually need to be able to have and be able to look at the reports and look at the data, and also to listen to the customers and then kind of move accordingly. All right. So let me know if that makes sense. Give me a thumbs up or give me a heart emoji if you're this is making sense to you, if you're getting something out of this one. So let's multi-unit leaders. It's one thing to know. Strategic store visits. Be more intentional. Um, this time of year, I visited more stores. Like I was in stores kind of probably 2 or 3 times more, maybe 5 times more this time of year than I was throughout the rest of the year, right? Um, and I'm not saying that the visits throughout the rest of the year were strategic. The moments that I would actually be in stores this time of year was um, was strategic in the context of what we're going to talk about here in a little bit, is to make sure I'm answering questions, is to helping quickly solve problems, right? Last couple of weeks, I've always talked about, and near the tail end is about taking a partner and being a partner. And I think the strategic visits, that idea around being a partner is intensified. It's intensified at this time of year for you to actually make sure that you are being a partner and that you're being a solution to your, 2 and 4 year stores. So be strategic in how you're actually visiting stores now. And I'm going to put this one here too, and this kind of goes along with this one. Develop a plan if you haven't already. Develop your visit plan for Black Friday, for the weekend, and what that looks like. Um, and be strategic about it. And I could probably talk more about that next week, right? Just the idea of like what stores you probably want to visit first and what that looks like. So every company probably has a different perspective, but I'll probably share some of that next week around one thing to know around store visits this time of year. Excuse me, around Black Friday and the weekend and things like that, so you can get the most out of those visits. All right. Um, Okay, so let's talk about ask one thing. Ask one thing. So store managers, where's my biggest opportunity? Where's my biggest point of failure? So if you think about your store as a chain of events, right? A chain of events. They're if it's strong, it's strong. But in most cases, there are probably some points of failure. It could be the logistics process where it takes too long to get product to the floor. How are you going to do that? How are you going to manage that process? It could be the upfront staffing process. It could be, you know what, Steve, we don't have enough applications, and so I know that we're going to be, having some massive overtime, right? So if that's the case, have you had a conversation with your team about overtime and what that looks like and what that need is going to be, right? Um, is it at the product the product assortment standpoint, Steve? We always sell out of this product every single year. Okay, well, what's going to be your backup plan, right? If it's basics, you kind of sell out of all the time. Hopefully, you've already partnered with your buyer, with your regional, to help you get more product assortment around that SKU, whatever that may be. So understanding your biggest points of failure within your chain of events that take place within your store. We can't allow what happens, and please understand this and please get this. If you don't get anything out of this, we can't allow the season to happen to us. I see it, I've seen it too much. The season happens to us, right? The season gets thrusted upon us and we react, right? You have to react to certain situations, but when you are just you are in a continuous reaction mode, that is not good for anybody. It's not good for your team because your team sees you pulling your hair out, except for me, right? You cannot be in a reaction mode. And so this is why understanding your biggest opportunities and identifying it, and then talking about the biggest points of failure within that continuum that is in your store is so important. And the honesty associated with that. Because I'll tell you what, right now, this time of year brings it will show all of the cracks in your operations. Remodels, I just talked about remodels, right? Remodels will also show all the cracks in your operations. Remodel, oh man, rem, I, you want to if you are director of stores or you are a district manager, regional manager, you want to know how operationally sound your a store is. You take them through a remodel. Every operational protocol, SOP, whatever, is comes to play because those are the things. I'll give you. I'm sorry. Shares, let's stop. I'm going to give you a quick tip. Let me give you a quick tip. And I'm doing this a podcast episodes about HQ. Everything works at HQ. Here's the thing that happens, and this is why you have to understand this. Let me kind of like lean in a little bit. Whenever there's a remodel, and whenever there's a planogram, or whenever there's a new initiative that takes place, HQ is under the auspices. They're under the mindset that you are on SOP. They don't have anything else to go by. They don't know that the rural store is different from the city stores. And you're probably like, Steve, they should. Listen to me. They don't. Because a lot of times they're not in the stores that as frequently and understand the different nuances. So they are basing a lot of their stuff off of you being on SOP. Period. Logistics process, inventory, everything. So anyway, that's my little tip for you right there to help this. That's a shout out to all my HQ people out there, and hopefully that that you know you love that what I just said. All right, so ask one thing from a multi-unit standpoint: do your stores have all the resources they need for success? Um, yours, and this is almost kind of a backwards question because ideally you have set up enough level of approachability within your team where they are providing you with their needs. Does that make sense? Right? They are providing you with the gaps in the resources that they need. Talents, bags, boxes, tape, right? All of those different things. Like hopefully you've already set a plan in place. This is 3 weeks out. There's a lot of stuff that's going to be taking place. Right. So hopefully you are providing um, the freedom for them to be able to communicate what they need to be successful. But you're also going in and assessing, right? Because we talked about this when I spoke about store visits. You're also going in there and assessing and providing proper perspective of where the store is, right? Because you have an outsider's perspective, and hopefully you're basing your feedback off of the multitude of visits that you have, not just the knee jerk things, not the systemic versus the non-systemic issues, right? And so you're able to kind of speak into their store what their needs are and what some of those resources that they will need to continue to be successful, right? Every one of your stores is different. I don't care if it's in the same zip code. I don't care even if they have similar different demographics, financial demographics, all those. It doesn't matter. Every single one of those stores are different. And so the way that they see a problem and the way that they handle their resources are going to be different. And so that's where I say it's important for you to understand what their needs are and provide it and help them get all of those resources that they need so that they can be successful. Okay? All right. Hope this is making sense to you. Also, make sure you go in and connect with Worthy Retail News. It has been growing. It's an amazing newsletter, and we tackle a lot of those unspoken challenges that retail leaders face on a daily basis. So make sure you go in there. And Worthy Retail News is super easy to get to. All of our Thursday live audio events actually are housed on the newsletter, and then of course they will be on our campus as well for everybody that joins our community there too. So all right, excellent. So let's move to this last area. I'm actually making really good time. I am very pleased with myself. I'm gonna um, pat myself on the show on the back because I wanted to keep this super simple for you and actionable. Let me see. I don't know if there's any questions or not. I don't think there is. But let me know if you have any questions or anything that may or may not be resonating with you. If there's something that's resonating with you, please let me know. All right. Um, you can talk about it in the comments, or you can connect with me via DM as well too. I you know love to connect with people and help them solve some problems as well. All right. So let's do this. Let's do the do one thing. Do one thing. Identify and communicate potential challenges sooner than later. And I sort of alluded to this, right? You have to do this. You have to do this, right? I told you this earlier. There's no time for complex. Everything has to be simple. Your communication, right, process and strategy has to be simple, but it has to be timely. But it has to be timely. So as a regional leader, I can't help you solve what I don't know, right? I can't help you solve what I don't know. And if you are a regional leader worth your salt, you should know what some of those gaps are. You should know already what some of those stores are that are struggling with certain things, and your ability to be able to communicate and say, hey, last year you struggled with this. How are you set for this year? Right? I'm not even going to talk about the fact that you should have already been doing this throughout the course of the year. But sometimes during this season, some of those things that you thought were resolved start to rear their ugly head as it relates to leadership, communication, connection, talent development, um, onboarding processes, all these certain things, because you didn't address the systemic issues that were happening within that store. A lot of times we put a band-aid over certain things, and we bring in another piece of talent, and we think that that piece of talent is actually going to solve our problem, and more often than not, it isn't, because we haven't fixed the underlying issues. And we'll talk more about that as we move into Q1 too, just to because I want to help you start the year all strong. And we're going to talk about systemic issues within your stores and how to identify them in January, right? And then work on them in January, and then what that looks like in Q1, Q2, to Q4 as well. So we'll talk more about that as well. So store managers, identify and communicate potential challenges sooner than later. Please do that, and be frequent with it. Be very frequent. Hopefully there's some type of texting or WhatsApp communication that stores, of course, that you are using to provide some of those issues. Take a partner, take a peer partner. Hey, call them up. I know most store managers and even district managers, they have a partner that they call up all the time and say, hey, I'm struggling with this. I'm dealing with this, right? Or I'm having a gap here. How do I tell Steve? Right? How do I communicate to Steve? Or how can I solve this and then tell Steve I solved it? That's the better situation that I've always loved. I always loved that I can walk into a store and they say, hey, I had this issue and this is how I solved it. Like, boom. Perfect. Love you. Awesome. Great visit. I'm on to the next. I'm on to the next star. All right. So, lastly, for do one thing for multi-unit lists, meetings must be strategic, no fluff. This time of year, I started out with it. It has to be simple. This time of year, meetings, they must be strategic. Cut the fat. Cut the fat. If your meeting has to be 15 minutes, if it has to be 10 minutes, that you just had to need to communicate one central point and then go to the stores to follow up, go ahead and do it that way. Go ahead and do it that way. Right. Or or if that meeting could be a strongly um well written, it's not strongly, well written, like text or email, where you can say, hey guys, check your email real quick. Um this just came down, right? if you could do it that way, that's so ideal. But right now, this time of year, your meetings need to be strategic and no fluff. Cut right to the chase. Cut right to the chase. Provide them and give them what they need so that they can execute on it. A lot of times we would have meetings because uh, we we didn't do enough work up front with understanding our stores. We didn't do enough work with understanding our stores and how we need to communicate with them and what their communication style is, right? Because every store, you got to raise your hand, please. Raise your hand if you understand this part. Every store has a different, like I said, every store is different. Every store has a different communication strategy, right? You would think that when you communicate, a blanket, initiative to all of your stores, right, that it's going to get, it's going to go down the same way. It's not, and so that's where they, provide strategic meetings and then go to the stores and check for understanding, because a lot of times some of the information that you thought was you thought you communicated in this way, it's actually coming across something completely different. And that's why you have to make sure you're actually just being strategic with your visits and being very strategic with your communications. No fluff. All right. Oh my goodness. Look at that. Look at the time. What time is it? All right, that's decent time. That's a decent time. That's a decent time. Um, I love this time of year. I love it, love it, love it, love it. The energy level should be high in your markets, uh, making sure that you are keeping everything simple. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna close. I'm gonna close with this foundational piece, these foundational pieces right here. Um, no time for complex. It's about movement of talent and product. Self and team discovery happens in these moments. So make sure you are identifying what those are, because those are things that you can work on as you move into the new year. It's not your fault, but it's your problem. Fix it quick, identify whatever those issues are, um, own it, take responsibility for it, but make sure you are providing a solution, as well. So, um, there you go. That's Thursdays, of course, every Thursday, 11 a.m. I know it's going to be tough for a lot of you, but also realize that if you miss, Thursdays, they are going to be on our newsletter, but they're also going to be in our campus, our upcoming campus as well. So we're going to be having a lot of the content is going to be in both of those areas as well. So appreciate that. And then lastly, the last thing that I wanted to make sure that I emphasize again is that we are on the road to 100, the road to 100 founding members, and we call them change makers for the year of 2024. And so we're excited to have you to be a part of that, be part of that first 100. An amazing annual rate, whether you pay monthly or whether you actually pay, a one-time fee. And we're excited to have you to be part of the campus. So make sure you go and check it out. There's a link in the description. There's a link in the comments right there as well too for you. All right. So happy Monday. I will see you next Monday. Well, we are going to be 2 weeks out. We're going to be 2 weeks out from Black Friday, and I'm going to have some more strategic advice and content and ideas for you so that you can make sure that you are tackling. I got this here to make sure that you are tackling this Black Friday, not just a Black Friday, but Q4, so that you can be on the road for success for 2024. So have a great Monday. It's Monday, right? Have a great Monday, and we'll talk to you soon. Have a great day. God bless.